Hello and welcome to our English news coming to you from Canal, Algeria. First, the top stories of the news. The President's decision to include accredited electronic media as a new mechanism for publicizing public contracts is already effective, a commitment towards responsible and efficient digital journalism. More strikes on Gaza, increasing the death toll and reducing furthermore the functioning of hospitals paralyzed by the ongoing siege. And former US diplomat and National Security Advisor John Bolton reiterates the necessity to hold a self-determination referendum in Western Sahara, being the only settlement to the conflict. Welcome back. First in our news, Algeria is giving accredited online media a bigger role in public tenders, aiming to boost the stability, raise content quality and consolidate digital journalism's place in the national media landscape. Melissa Lila Balaman explains.
The legal text lays out the conditions and procedures for publishing through accredited online media when awarding public contracts. It formally adds accredited online digital outlets as a new channel for announcing public tenders, ending the previous reliance solely on print media.
Following
the completion of the legal framework regulating the media sector, including online journalism, the next step was to enshrine the principle of indirect support for digital outlets by granting them the right to compete for public advertising contracts, a directive issued by the President of the Republic in 2023. This transparent financial support will help publishers and professionals build solid institutions and raise content quality.
حقيقية أيضا تحسين جودة المحتوى.
This new gain for online media delivers on commitments made by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, to the people. Pledges aimed at supporting national media and equipping it with all the tools and opportunities needed to develop the country's media landscape. A move that aligns with the profound transformations and qualitative leap the media sector is currently undergoing. The President has instructed that all forms of support to the sector continue in order to achieve genuine and effective professionalism and to reinforce rigorous regulatory mechanisms under current laws. In a world where media and communications are a decisive force in defending the interests of people and nations, the ultimate goal is to build a free, pluralistic and influential press capable of fully serving society, meeting competition head-on and rising to challenges. Now, online outlets can strengthen their capabilities. A site without resources cannot produce in-depth investigations or field reports that truly capture what is happening in society. When a website has the means, it can consolidate its strength and showcase its journalistic work. This is a huge step forward for digital journalism. This marks an important milestone in supporting online journalism in Algeria. It reflects a genuine will to cement the role of digital media in the national landscape. Public support for these outlets will help secure their financial stability, enhance the quality of their output, serve citizens' rights to information, and uphold national values. The decision demonstrates a clear political will and a broad vision to strengthen the place of online media within the national media system. It provides the tools and funding needed to ensure their sustainability, underscoring the state's commitment to fostering a responsible and effective digital press.
To international news and to the catastrophic situation in Gaza Strip, where new incursions were carried out by the Zionist army, with more casualties rising, the death toll to more than 61,000 martyrs, most of them women and children. Famine is still looming over the enclave, and hospitals are almost out of function, despite the alarm sounded by the World Health Organizations. A call has been launched as well to protect journalists and reporters, still the main target of the Zionist war machinery. Still in the Palestinian territories, where even dead are not spared, martyrs and cemeteries are targeted as well by the Zionist army. Burying now a dead has become a miracle and real suffering to his family, given the lack of graveyards to preserve the human dignity and ensure an internal rest. More indications in this report. In Gaza, even eternal rest is denied. Families no longer have space to bury their dead. The cemeteries are full, forcing them to reopen graves, sometimes several times in the same week. Beneath the sky still darkened by the smoke of bombings, a family prepares to lay a new martyr to rest in a grave already occupied. Bodies wrapped in white shrouds are placed together, sometimes alongside relatives, neighbors or strangers, in a final act of unity. Yesterday we buried our neighbor and friend. Today we reopened the same grave to bury my cousin. May God rest his soul. We have no space left in the cemeteries. Here, even the dead are not spared by the Zionist strikes. Many cemeteries have been turned into fields of ruins, a desecration that deepens the pain of Gazans who see the memory of their loved ones erased and their remains scattered by explosions. In few cemeteries still standing, finding even a single square meter is a miracle.
سيطرة الاحتلال واليوم احنا عشان نلاقي مكان ندفن فيه.
Today, no cemetery space remains. The two main burial grounds are under occupation control. Families face immense difficulty finding a final resting place for their loved ones. Some are forced to bury them in the street, courtyard, beside displaced persons' camps. Faced with this reality, each burial becomes an act of resistance, a refusal to let these lives disappear into oblivion. You are still watching Canal Algérie. Coming up in our news. France is heading toward headline policy, using Algeria as a tool to hide its serious domestic troubles via far-right figures. Welcome back to our news from Washington. Former U.S. diplomat and national security advisor John Bolton reiterated his conviction that holding a self-determination referendum in Western Sahara remains the only settlement to resolve these conflicts, holding Morocco responsible for blocking the UN process. This conflict keeps threatening security not only in Africa but also in Europe, in the words of the same speaker. Foreign journalists in occupied Western Sahara face relentless intimidation, expulsions and surveillance. Human rights groups warn that these tactics are part of a broader effort to silence coverage of abuses against the Sahara people. Further explanation with Melissa Lila Balaman.
Foreign journalists working in the Moroccan-controlled areas of Western Sahara face a constant barrage of harassment, humiliation and abuse. A calculated campaign designed to keep uncomfortable truths from surfacing. In a new report, Reporters Without Borders accuses Moroccan authorities of deliberately shutting out international media to prevent coverage of the situation on the ground. The crackdown on visiting reporters mirrors the harsh treatment of Sahrawi journalists already imprisoned in Morocco, many held in degrading and inhumane conditions.
Reporteros Sin Fronteras España llevamos años denunciando.
For years, Reporters Without Borders Spain has documented the routine expulsion of foreign journalists from Western Sahara, as well as the appalling conditions endured by Sahrawi activists in detention. Over 100 international reporters have been forced out of the occupied territories, with the latest case occurring on July 8th.
El objetivo del viaje era tratar de...
Our work in these occupied areas is meant to shine a light on the human rights abuses committed against the Sahrawi people by Moroccan forces.
Occidental, además de las violaciones de los derechos humanos.
The International Federation for Human Rights and the World Organization Against Torture recently issued a joint statement expressing alarm over the deteriorating health and treatment of Sahrawi journalist and human rights defender Bashir Khadda, who has been arbitrarily jailed in Morocco since 2010. His case is far from unique. Countless Sahrawi activists and reporters are enduring similar ordeals. Journalism in occupied Western Sahara is an act of defiance. We operate in secrecy, facing serious risks every day. We rely on small cameras and mobile phones, hiding footage so it can be smuggled out for the world to see. For Morocco's authorities, foreign press coverage of Western Sahara has become an ongoing headache. Yet, despite efforts to block them, determined reporters continue to capture and publish evidence of the daily abuses suffered by a defenseless population.
To another story now, as France heads towards headline policy, a new flashpoint with Algeria exposes a deeper pattern, using diplomatic tensions to mask domestic troubles, with far-right figures fanning the flames behind the scenes, turning racism into a political weapon and Algeria into a convenient target. Melissa Lila Balaman expounds more.
France is edging deeper into political extremism. Paris has built up a long record of flouting international charters and treaties. The latest episode, the diplomatic suitcase dispute with Algeria, despite protections clearly spelled out in the Vienna Convention. No longer content with quietly bending the rules, Paris, fueled by a lingering resentment toward Algiers, now quietly stirs the waters. The aim, to shift attention away from a worsening domestic picture, record inflation, soaring public debt, and unrelenting social unrest.
Et vous avez en France tout un lobby extrêmement actif anti-algérien.
France has a highly active anti-Algerian lobby, led by prominent public figures. Look at the French government's approach. Mr. Rotaillot above all, who publicly attacks Algeria every 3 weeks. This is exactly what not to do.
Fustige l'Algérie publiquement, c'est la façon dont il ne faut pas agir.
Tensions between Algiers and Paris are being driven by a small core of self-styled conservatives, political heavyweights who cyclically reopen old wounds. Among the most vocal is Bruno Retailleau, joined recently by former Minister Noël Lenoir, who branded millions of Algerians in France as a major danger and urged that they be placed in administrative detention, which led the SOS Racisme Association to file a complaint against her. The true face of the far right is corruption. Just months ago, Marine Le Pen was convicted over the RN's fake parliamentary assistance case. And the truth is, Jordan Bardella doesn't serve French interests in the European Parliament. His chronic absenteeism is common knowledge, but when it comes to exploiting resources, he's exceptionally committed. You cut budgets for universities, you strip away the means to fight racism on campus, and so the cycle repeats, fueling hatred, fueling division. In today's France, racism has become a political instrument, and Algeria, with its legacy of resistance and a vibrant diaspora, remains the easy target, a ready-made punching bag wheeled out whenever scandals threaten to erupt.
To the weekly report of the PNA, which carried out several successful operations denoting professionalism, vigilance and readiness in terms of fighting terrorism. PNA detachment eliminated 4 terrorists and restored their weapons in the southeast borders relevant to the 4th military region. In the same context, terrorist terrorist Karzazi Omar, known as Abu Sif, surrendered to the military authorities of Borj Baji Mukhtas, possessing weapons and ammunition. 9 elements supporting terrorist groups were arrested, as well as for fighting organized crime and drug trafficking. PNA units, in coordination with different security forces, thwarted attempts to introduce drugs, seizing important quantities of processed cannabis and psychotropic tablets hailing from Morocco. In Tamaras, Borj Baji Mukhtar, Ain Gizam and Ain Saleh and Elize, 306 individuals were arrested and their equipment used in illegal operations were seized. And finally, coastal guards followed the steps of illegal immigration and rescued 562 individuals of different nationalities using dinghies. And with this, we come to the end of our news bulletin. Tomorrow, another day, other news. Keep tuning to our channel and programs. And bye-bye.